can I do an ASMR opening my can?
You're good. You're good.
There we go.
You gotta tap it. Oh.
Too late. We messed that up.
Look, I could do my Red Bull can.
Okay, take your first.
I could
You don't need a Red Bull.
take my first sip. Why? I have another one.
Ooh.
Is that back in the video?
No.
Okay.
Why does it not be in the video?
All right. Here we go. Okay,
you go.
so welcome to the NextGen podcast. Very excited about it. How do y'all feel about doing a podcast?
I'm hyped. I'm gonna speak for Allison. I'm hyped. I'm so excited. Okay.
Yeah.
Rock on, huh? No, it's gonna be
Good.
fun. It's gonna be
Manatee
it's gonna be
words.
fun. It's gonna shift up, but it's gonna be fun. But before we get started, who are you?
Who are you?
I'm Allison.
Nuh-uh.
What else should I say about myself?
Okay, so I'm Allison, and what is something fun you do?
I'm Allison, and I like to crochet.
That is
Like
not
a grandma.
fun. Ew, that's
Dude.
boring.
I like to
Are
sit
you-
on the couch, watch a good Law and Order show, and crochet my life
You
away.
can't,
That's
you
boring.
can't crochet and be in the next gen ministry.
Yeah, that's not trendy.
Who else is gonna make you crochet pants?
You don't even have crochet pants, so not you.
After tonight, we might all have them.
Absolutely not.
That's
I will burn them.
hilarious. Hannah, who are you?
I'm Hannah. That's who I am. I'm Hannah. Something fun I do. I don't know. I don't really do much, so I don't have much to do.
You're an amazing drummer.
Yeah, drum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you read or anything else?
No, I don't have time for that.
You do word searches.
I do word
Oh,
searches.
there you
that's
go.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
get lost
And
in
me and Allison are in the same grandma group.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
It's
I'll just
trendy.
be crocheting. You can pull out your word search.
Yeah.
Get our little readers
my
on.
own grandmother once told me, my lovely mama. She said, "I don't even do word searches." So,
Dissed by the mama.
just by the mama.
Why don't y'all watch Law and Order together?
Unless it suits.
I have been watching that show.
Okay, well we're
That's
almost
good.
done with it, so.
Oh, okay. I'm on like season 2 or 3.
Don't tell them our secrets.
You like that show too?
I tried
Yeah.
to.
Watch it
I
together.
just-
He
That's
can't
our
get
show.
into it.
I got her into it.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's our show.
I like shows. He'll get 2
Really?
episodes in. He's out. He's out. That's it. 2 episodes all he's got.
Like he's asleep?
He has no stamina in. No, he gets bored of
Oh,
series.
Well, you're boring.
It either has
series-
to be a movie or a documentary.
Talk about a grandpa.
Yeah, honestly. You're like Pawpaw
They
sleeping
tell,
on
they
the
tell
couch.
me I have an old soul. So
Well,
Or you're a little too old.
Who are you?
Okay, who are you?
I'm Ty.
What's something fun about you?
Um,
What do you like to do?
what's your hobby?
What's your hobby? You like baseball cards.
Baseball cards.
yeah, collect cards, work.
So
Yeah.
do you have a collection?
Yeah.
He's got collections.
I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Actually takes up like quite a few boxes.
Yeah.
We just got 2 more today, so.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I got a
if
lot.
you had to give us an estimate, if you were to sell these cards right now, how much would you think you would get?
Ooh.
We
On the spot. We
Tell us
haven't
your worth.
We haven't even graded all of them.
Tell us
your word?
Tell us
We
your net
haven't
value
graded
here.
them all.
I just gathered them all together. We probably looked through maybe like 50 or more.
Yeah.
And we already
Took 2
found,
hours.
we probably already found at least 20 to 30 of them that are worth over $30. And one
Over
worth
30.
$2,500, almost $2,600.
Okay, so that's what I was looking for.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
found
$30, drop in the bucket.
We found one
2500?
ring dinger, son.
Yeah, and we only checked 100 cards out of
Who is it?
thousands.
Who's the ring dinger?
I can tell you, actually.
Yeah, we got
No,
a
I
picture
keep
of
hitting
it.
This mic.
I was like, this card ain't worth nothing. I don't even know this guy. I'm
Nice.
mistaken.
That's hilarious.
Old time rookie card.
I didn't know that.
Well,
That's a fun fact.
well, I'm Billy.
Oh, yeah, who are
My
you?
mom would call me Bob, Sue, weird
Biscuit.
things like that. Biscuit. But I'm Billy. What I like to do, I have a Harley Davidson. I like to ride my Harley Davidson. I like to go fast, and
Mr. Chris is telling you to get into your mic, please.
I like to
Eat
be.
your mic for
I
breakfast.
like to be loud and fast on my Harley. That's my hobby. That's what I like to do.
You just built yourself a shelf in your shed.
Oh yeah.
Whoa!
Ooh, testy.
So I made me a workbench so that I could work on my Harley. So it's another
Can you
bike
put the
part
Harley
of my
on the
hobby.
bench? Or is it
Ooh.
just a bench?
Look, it's pretty sturdy. It's pretty sturdy.
Can you ride it up on there?
Yeah, like, can you just pick it
No,
up?
I would
and
have
put
to
it
pick
on
it
there?
up. I have to get somebody strong to do that.
I got
Oh,
you.
don't diss on
Oh,
yourself,
wow,
man. That's
just dissed
rough.
yourself.
Oh,
You're
also
not
the
strong
card is
enough.
Bruce Sutter, number 144, rookie card, 1977 tops.
Any of y'all have those out there? Be on the lookout.
in mint condition.
Give them to me.
in a magnet case.
All right, let's do some would you rather's.
Oh
Right.
Lord.
Let's
So
do
would
it.
you rather? Let's start it off easy right here. Would you rather have the ability to see 10 minutes into the future or 150 years into the future?
10 minutes.
10 minutes. Okay, why though?
Because if I lived my life knowing what was going to happen, one, I probably have no motivation, and two, I just don't want. Like you said, 100 years.
150.
I'm gonna be dead.
I know, but you'll get to see your great.
Absolutely not.
Why would you want to see your great? They won't ever see you.
Ooh.
No, I agree. I'm with you. I'm just
Are you though? You
10
sound like
minutes.
you're dissonant. What?
What you got?
I'd pick 10 minutes because nobody's gonna believe you whatever you say.
yeah.
Oh yeah, time
150.
traveler.
10 minutes all the way because like you can prevent car crashes. You can prevent.
How are you gonna prevent that?
That's too much weight.
That's too much
I know it's
work.
gonna happen in 10 minutes, so I'm not gonna go down that road. I mean,
Like for you personally, like you're
Okay.
right.
I thought
Yeah.
you meant like being like the what do they call those people? A vigilante who just no, that's bad people.
No.
But the people who go out like stopping crime.
Samaritan.
Crime watcher.
okay,
Crime Stopper?
okay.
You can. No.
Would you rather have telekinesis, which is the ability to move things with your mind,
Ooh.
or telepathy, the ability to read minds?
Telepathy.
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 So, okay.
The great debate: telepathy or telepathy. Which one?
Telepathy, 1000%.
That's hilarious. Don't make fun of me. Okay, the ability to move things with your mind, or the ability to read minds.
Dude, that's a tough one for me, bro. Because like
I've-
I'm lazy, so
First instinct would be read minds, but then I don't want to know what someone else is thinking about me.
Yeah.
You know?
What you got?
Well, I already know what everybody thinks about me.
What?
I could read faces, so no big deal.
Face reader.
But I'd rather move
weird.
stuff. I'd rather move stuff. It'd make my job easy.
Yeah, I kind of wouldn't
Need a
want to
snack
know
out the fridge? Just wish it and it'll happen.
Well, you wouldn't have to wish it. You have to work with your mind.
You're not a genie.
Yeah, you're not a genie, Allison. Get it right.
Sorry, guys.
Telepathy.
Oh, telepathy, bro.
That's live, bro.
Would you rather be in jail for 5 years or be in a coma for 10 years?
Ooh, gel. Gel all day. I would no. Dude, they say people in comas can hear everything everyone says about them. I'm good. And then they can't do anything. They're just stuck in that
Yeah,
state.
but jail dog.
I
don't
would
belong in a
not
jail.
survive a
I
day
would rather
in jail.
be 5 years than however long in a coma.
10 years.
Give me a
yeah.
10
Yeah, that's
year
too
long
long.
nap all day long.
Yeah, that's what I'm about to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
To
like
To
it
you, it'd
doesn't-
feel
there's
like a
no
couple
pain.
hours.
You literally don't have to do anything. They feed me through a tube.
Yeah,
I'm
but then you're
sure,
like a
but-
vegetable. What
You don't
if
have to
don't
pay
wake
any
up?
bills until when you wake up.
When you
until
wake up, you have a lifetime of
Yeah,
it.
Until then,
See, that's the other part with
until
jail,
then, you're
you don't
living
have
for
no
free.
bills. I mean, you get your court fees, but besides that, you're good, bro.
No, I wouldn't survive.
One more. Would you rather lose your sight
Absolutely not.
or your memories?
Okay,
Sight.
well, I already lost my memory, so I'm good on that one. I can't remember anything. I
So you don't
literally
know
can't
who
remember
am
anything. Oh, Ty?
Yeah.
I'm Taisha. Okay.
No,
you're right.
I already can't remember anything as it is, so.
Yeah, I can't remember much right now, and he can attest to that. But I'd much rather. I don't know, man. Because then you can't live a life if you can't remember nothing. Because you'll be like, "Oh, hi," and then that's it. You can't remember.
Yeah, but who's to say it's like an instant memory loss?
Okay, so what are we talking?
What if
here
it's
then?
long term memory
What's
loss?
the what kind of?
'Cause I've lost
It-
that.
Or what if it's your
memories.
what if it's your past?
Like your
You
memories
forget your
have
past.
made.
Yeah.
Well, then you're doomed to repeat it.
Oh,
Are you?
Ooh.
trippy.
That's very hard to choose. I
Yeah.
love- I
What was the
love
first
both.
one?
Sight or
Oh,
memories?
no, I had to see.
Yeah, I have to see.
That's my thing,
Even
I
if
wanna
I
see,
forget it,
but-
at least I
Okay,
can see
you
it
wouldn't be
again.
able to drive. You wouldn't be able to, like, I don't know. That's
Well,
just
how
hard.
can you drive if you can't remember where you were going? You'd be wasting so much gas. You can't remember your way home.
Just driving around in circles.
All right. So let's get into some deeper conversation. Are you ready for some deeper conversation?
Yeah.
Sure.
All right. So I just want to hit on the topic of, the culture that we're living in, the culture, that the American culture, and the environments that we can be in. Whether it's with our friends or we go to this event. We find ourselves in different environments and different and cultures that don't completely line up with Christianity. And so because the world is the world and the kingdom is the kingdom. And so but as next gen leaders, as people, as Christians who are trying to reach the next generation and to lead them, up, so that they could replace us, and then farther on, we have to be relevant at the same time. So we have to this is I'm going to say this word. We have to embrace the culture, but we can't allow the culture to change who we are. And
Yeah.
same with our environments. Like, be relevant, but don't cross the line that God has given you. And so let me ask you this question. What is culture to you? Explain culture.
Yo, I
Sheesh.
left school a long time ago. Okay, these definitions ain't really in my brain, but culture.
That's a tough question.
Yeah. I would say it's culture would be like, I don't know. I know in my brain what I'm thinking, but I can't put it in words.
I'd say like culture is what's the popular thing going on at this time, you know?
Okay. Yeah.
Because everybody changes culture throughout years, you know?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, what's the most popular thing going on now? So
Yeah.
that's people's new culture, and they make brand new cultures years going on, you know?
Yeah, like cultures are always
They're always
always
changing.
like it's not just culture. There's cultures. Like,
Yeah.
Plural.
like there's so many cultures going on right now. Like there's a culture over here in the West Louisiana, and there's a culture over there in East Louisiana.
True
But
statement.
there's also an American culture, and then
Mhm.
there's a third world culture.
Yeah.
You see, so there's cultures within cultures, and it's always shifting, it's always changing. But
Yeah.
like what influences a culture? Like where does a culture what makes a culture a culture?
I think
Wow,
if-
you're hitting
Hard
us with
questions.
some hard ones.
Allison,
Hard
you're
questions.
flabbergasted. You
I
have no words.
I am like, what thoughts do I have?
I think what influences the culture is your specific area. Because, like you just said, like, East and South Louisiana have totally different cultures than
Yeah.
up here in Rose Pine, you know. Even bigger cities like DeRidder have a different culture than Rose Pine or Pickering or, you know, those places. So I think it's your surroundings and who is the most popular in those surroundings. You know, that's who
So-
people want to be like.
So your surroundings, your environment determines the culture.
Yeah.
It's what creates the culture.
Yeah, and like the people in it. And I feel like different cultures start just from somebody saying like, oh, like this is the new thing.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's so easy, like you're saying, like it's so easy. Well, so I guess it's not so easy, but it's easy to like start something different in order to influence that culture. And so I think like if you're asking like what makes up a culture or something like that, I really think it's like just the people.
Okay. The
Mhm.
people. So like there's influencers. Like, there's like everybody's an influencer now.
Cringe.
You have
Right.
social media.
So
You're an
cringe.
influencer. And so there's people influencing the culture, and the culture is always changing, always shifting based off what these influencers are influencing, right?
Yeah.
And so whatever they are doing, whatever they say is cool, whatever is in, that's what creates the culture. And so sometimes as humans, because we're Christians, but we're humans, we have the nature to gravitate towards the culture. Like there's always that feeling of FOMO, fear of missing out, or I want to be a part of that too. That's what everybody else doing. It's natural. Like that's fine.
And I
But-
want it now, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would kind of be my answer where culture comes from. It's just like everyone, like, okay, so you're being influenced to do this one thing, and then someone else around you is like, oh, that's kind of cool, I want to do that. And then, like, everyone else around you is doing that same thing, and then there's your culture of whatever that is, whether that's, through social media or the day to day life. Like, everyone's like, oh, yeah, that's cool, I want to do that. And then you look around, and everyone's doing that.
Yeah.
And so it's like that's just the culture that you live in.
And now culture is like it changes so fast because of technology now. Because we can watch people, we can watch these influencers in our home. Like, we don't have to go to them to see what's going on or go to these events. We can literally sit right here and just be influenced. And the culture that's going on in Hollywood can be the culture in my home if I allow it to be.
Yeah.
Because
definitely can
it's that contagious.
Yeah.
And so, do you think it is important as Christians to be aware of the culture?
I do, only because you will have no relevance if you aren't. Like,
yeah, for sure.
because people are being influenced by everything. And so if you aren't ever like in that, not saying like like you have to be in whatever they're doing, but if you're not aware, I would say if you're not aware of the culture or aware of like the what's cool now or whatever, everyone's going to tune you out. Okay, so like you never see anyone walking around like talking in King James. Like no one's talking like, "Oh, how art
Thou
thou
art
this morning?"
thou.
Like, wow, like no one's
Thine
doing
art's
that.
fine.
And if they do, you're going to be like, "Okay, this guy just came out of
Disclaimer,
like
if you're reading King James, it's okay.
yeah, that's why I said talking in King James because I don't know what that's called. Old English, I don't know.
literally.
Yeah, we love King James. Nothing wrong with that. But like, they're not going to hear anything you're saying because they're just going to be like, oh, that was so like 2000s or, which is actually coming back in style now. It's just crazy.
Hey, don't say 2000s,
But-
yo. That's when I was born, my guy. So
Wow.
I'm 99.
Crazy.
Boy, right?
y'all are right. You got 2
98.
years. Give me a break. Give me a
99,
break. 2
I don't care.
years.
I don't care.
Don't even
I'm in
matter.
a different classification.
No, I'd have to say though. Hold on. What was the question again? I just forgot.
Why is it important, or do you think?
Oh yeah, I got it now.
Okay.
Sorry, Billy, I just cut you off. Anyway, I think it's important because like these kids or students and youth nowadays, like they say slang that like I don't get.
That's
Like
bussin'.
what is bussin', son? Like
Hold on, have y'all seen that video?
Yeah.
Of when
God
millennials.
is
Hold on.
bussin'.
Oh, yes, I
when
did.
millennials start creating worship music, bro,
Yes.
you should
Gen
find that on
Z
your phone.
starts.
Yo, I
creating.
just saw a video and I didn't like it today, but this girl was like reading the Bible in Gen Z terms and it was, and Peter saw that the disciples were doing something and it was sus,
Yes.
and like Jesus passed
Judas
the
was
vibe.
sus at the table.
Yeah, literally, they're like Jesus said that Judas was sus at the table and he was passing the vibe.
Here we go.
Your love is bossing, bossing.
Let's go. I put my trust
That's garbage. That's absolute garbage.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, but
though.
no,
real.
like these terms like were not a thing when we were growing
No.
like at all. And so like if you don't understand them, how are you gonna talk to them?
Yeah.
So like if you don't in that term of what they say, because like sometimes I'm like, what does that even mean? It just means like cool or like you got
Yeah.
Riz, bro. Like
Yeah,
what?
well, I don't even know how they come up with
And
these
then
words.
like I'll learn a term and the next week it's a new thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, they're like, that's so old. I'm like, it's a week old.
Yeah, I
But-
just learned it yesterday.
Literally, so,
I'm always trying to figure out how they come up. Like, where do these words derive from? Like bussin',
bussin', that's easy because like busting. But like, how does that mean it's really good?
or like no cap.
Yeah, I don't have an explanation for that.
The only thing I can think is like no limit. Like it's
Yeah, but no cap means like for real. Like now they're saying like real or something like that.
yeah, that's a real.
For
See,
real.
I didn't even know what cap meant. Wow.
Don't be dissing.
Yeah, it's okay. But yeah, I think it is because like even like it kind of goes hand in hand with like you can't like if you don't feed people's physical need, they're not going to be open and receptive to you feeding their spiritual need. And so it's kind of like the same way. Like if you don't come in a relevant way, they're going to completely tune you out and not want to listen to anything that you have to say.
Totes
But
my
it's
goats.
just balancing that line of not going too far,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just say this: totes my goats, because that used to be a thing when we were in elementary school. Not maybe for
What,
you,
in the
but
2000s?
yes.
Ty, why do you think it's important for Christians to be aware of the culture?
Well, I can say for me, I like being aware so I can know the fine line. So the people that I'm around, I can help them not get to that fine line.
Right.
Yeah,
You know?
that's good.
I can already know the ways of leading them out of there or not reaching that fine line, but still being in the same, in the same environment, but in a good way,
Right.
if that makes sense.
Right. Because
Yeah, that's a good point.
you gotta know the line in order to not cross the line.
Yeah.
If you don't know what the line is, then you'll cross it every time.
Yeah, and like you said, like it's a fine line.
Like we
Like,
have
you
this
know?
electric fence at the house, and it blends in. If I didn't know where it was, I would run into that.
That would be
fence.
hilarious.
And so you gotta know. You
We
gotta
have an electric fence.
yes for the cows.
The one-
Anyways,
Oh.
I don't even
Um,
live there, and I know that.
you got to know where the line is so that you don't cross the line, so you don't run into the line. But
You should.
also to be relevant. And Jesus hung out with, he went to sinners. He went to, the ones that nobody else wanted to hang out with. And so he was in those environments, in those environments that birth sin and all these different things. He was in those places, but he knew the line. He knew the line. And so it's important to be involved in the different environments. It's important to be involved in the culture, but you also have to know what your line is and know what your mission is, because we're on mission at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And being part of the culture is part of the mission, because the people are in the culture. The students are in the culture. So we got to go in just enough to show them Jesus, right?
True dat.
Yeah, and I think sometimes like people are like a lot of churches or pastors are like afraid of being relevant, but at the same time, like as long as it's not like the main thing, like does it really matter at the end of the day? Like for instance, like the lights in a sanctuary, like does that really affect your faith? Or like dressing, skinny jeans are out, baggy jeans are in, like does that really affect your
really?
faith? Yeah. And so it's like
bad for me.
that line is easier to not cross when you're thinking like, okay, is this really affecting my faith? Is this a stumbling block? If not, well then I think it's okay. You know?
I agree. And also I need to change my wardrobe now. So thank you, Allison.
Okay. So the culture, the American culture that we live in today, we love America. Thank you God for America. Wow. But the culture teaches us and tells us that you are free to be whoever you want to be. You're right. You're an American.
That's what they say. That's what the culture says.
You're
Yeah.
free.
Here's what it says.
You can be whatever you want to be, and yeah, you can be whatever you want to be. You have the free will, and you can be whatever you want to be to an extent. But we are called to be who God created us to be, right? Like the world's telling us, be whoever you want. And God's telling us, I want you to be who I created you to be. And so, how do we be what God wants us to be? How do we be that? But not be weird. Not be like, okay, I believe in God, so I can't partake in anything that the world partakes in.
Yeah. For me, my answer is exactly what I just said. Like, if it's not a hinging point of your faith, I think you're okay. Like, ask that question one more time. I had a thought and it just left me.
How do we be the person that God created us to be, but still be involved in the culture?
Yeah. So if like the things that you're wanting to be involved in the culture don't distract you from your mission, which is to share the gospel, or the calling that God has placed on your life, like for me is worship. If it doesn't distract me from that and it's not like a hinging point of our faith, I think it's okay. Like if you're trying to gauge like, is this too worldly or is this not? I think that's the best place to start. Like, is it a hinge point of my faith, and does it distract me from the mission / calling that God placed in my life? And if not, my answer would be, it's all good. Yeah. Unless you feel convicted by it, and then that's a whole separate thing.
If you're convicted, then you probably
that's a whole
it might be a
separate
little
thing.
But anyway, I think like there's clear guidelines in the Bible, and you can in this day and age simply Google scriptures about what God's command on our lives are. So if it falls within those realms, then like it's okay. Like like Allison said, if it's not a hinge point, then I think you're okay. But if you don't know, like, what is the hinge point of my faith? Like, if you're starting out, like, just Google it. Even if you have an actual Bible, then you can go into those scriptures, But I think Googling or looking up, if you know your Bible front and back really well, just looking it up in the Bible, because it says multiple times in many different ways what God has expected on our lives for it to look like. So I think if you're like unsure what it is or what isn't, that's a good way to start,
Yeah, I agree.
You got anything?
I kind of forgot what I was going to say.
I'll just share a thought while you're gathering yours. I think too there's a there's never going to be a point that Okay, so I think that if you are a Christian, there should be something about you that people can tell is different than the world. So like I don't think there's ever going to be a point where you're going to blend so seamlessly that no one knows that you're Christian. If you are at that point, well then you kind of need to change something up because that's also not what you're called to be. Like, and so we shouldn't like the scriptures always say like we're not of this world, and so just don't be so conformed in a way that you just blend right on in and like anyone looking at you just doesn't think there's anything different about you. There should always be something,
Right, because
different
the
about
Word
you.
of God tells us that we should be set apart. And
Right.
so we should be set apart, from our environments, from our culture. But we still have to we have to be active. We have to be in it in order to reach people, and that's what our mission is at the end of the day. Let me move to this, and I think we don't really choose to be culturally engaged. Like it's not a choice that we're like, oh, I'm gonna be involved in the culture today. Like I'm gonna be involved in what everybody else is doing. Like no, it's just kind of like a subconscious thing. You just find yourself doing those things.
Yeah.
Like when TikTok first came out, you just kind of start doing it. It's not like a fine line like I'm gonna do this today.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
Actively
it's
going
like a
to
subconscious.
become
Like you don't
Yes.
choose to engage the culture.
Yeah.
You're human. Like culture is we're cultural beings. That's why there's cultures, right? Because humans created culture. We're cultural beings, so we naturally gravitate towards whatever the culture is. And so we just have to know. We have to know the line. We got to know who God created us to be, number one, and we have to know what the line is, from what God created me to be to what the culture is shaping me to be. We have to keep that line very clear, especially reaching the next gen. Going after the next generation. That line has to be more clear than ever.
Yeah.
Because you're treading some deep waters there, like because they're engulfed in things that some mature adults are not engulfed in. You have to go in and relate, make friends, but also protect yourself.
Yeah. And talking about kind of just protecting yourself, there's this verse that Romans 12:2 says, and do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind so that you may prove what is good and acceptable and the perfect will of God. A verse that we've all heard before, but I think a key point is that don't be conformed to this world and be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And that renewing of your mind only happens through your daily quiet time with God or daily spending time with God, is that renewal of your mind every day to know like, okay, there's some lines in my life that I can't cross culturally today, whether that's like TikTok or, social media in general. There's just cultural things that are temptations for different people. And so it's just like, this morning I'm just renewing my mind to the will of God, to the things that I know I can't dive into. And it's just that continual renewal that I think keeps us that protection that you're talking about, just keeps us in a constant state of being on guard.
Yeah, and I just got a couple of things here, but it's talking about being set apart and different. You do have to blend in somewhat, not saying that you have to look exactly like Elsa said. You're not called to look exactly like everybody else, otherwise what would be any different about us?
Yeah.
Why would someone want to be a Christian if we look just like
Exactly.
Joe Blow down the street? You know what I mean?
Joe
So
Blow.
yeah, it's the old
Catches
saying.
all the heat.
Cut all the heat, man. Whoever
was
that
Joe
guy
Blow,
is.
I'm sorry, Joe.
Anyway, but you're also called to be a light, and Billy had preached it really good Sunday. Like whatever situation, it could be a person, they could be shrouded in darkness, and you're called to be the light in that place, in your schools, in your home, even though you're just a student, you're called to be the light, and you have to close your eyes and visualize with me here. Imagine, because your eyes are closed, everything's dark, and then you just see a light come. That should be you, man. Like, that should be you. You should just, did everyone kumbaya with me? No? Okay, that's fine. Thank you. I had one participant. I hope you participated. But anyway, I think that's how we should visualize it, as you are the light in that person, that situation, that environment. You're not supposed to look like everything else. And then with TikTok and social media, Facebook, but also YouTube Shorts too. Like, I heard someone say, sometimes, we just want to keep watching just to see what
Oh,
the
yeah.
end's going to be. I don't know. Where did I hear that from?
I don't know.
Okay, anyway. Someone had said that we just want to keep watching just to see. And it's
Yeah.
like, why do you need to just see? Like, if you
Yeah.
have to think, oh, I wonder, then you don't need to
Curiosity
wonder.
killed the cat.
It doesn't kill the cat and Joe Blow, but don't.
Poor Joe.
Poor Joe.
Joe Blow's
But,
still
like-
living because he's down the street.
But anyway, like, for real, just
Yeah.
you get curious and you're like, ooh, let me just, and that's a temptation, Are you
Yeah.
going to act on it or are you going to just, yoop? Because we can literally just go, yoop, and then that's it.
Yeah, it plants seeds in your mind. Like, same way that you share the gospel with somebody and you plant a seed in their life, well, they can do the same thing to you.
Sure.
Like just that curiosity of oh, it's not going to affect me. It's just one video. Yeah, but it's planting something in your mind.
Yeah.
It's furthering that curiosity or whatever.
I got something to say. Even if the people around you are bad or doing stuff bad, you can still, stand out. I do it every day. Everywhere I've been, worked, I've always stood out. I've always changed people's mind. I still one of the most relevant people wherever I go.
Influencer.
It's not a matter about if you say bad words or if you do bad things or if you go hang out with them at their house at parties. I don't do none of that, and I don't believe in none of it. It don't make me look cool. I got over that. I don't even know 8 years ago. That does nothing for you. But it's really just about staying relevant and knowing the fine line, but standing out to the people and slowly bringing them closer with you to knowing the fine line.
Right, it's a process.
It doesn't happen overnight.
Right.
I'm not kidnapping people.
And one person at a time. One person might take a month, to get with you and next to you. But when you get that one person, it's like the whole world changed. And then you're like, I can get another person. And then you get another person, then you got your own little group that you hang out with.
Mm-hmm.
And they all know the fine line with you,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
But
all-
at the end, I think that's really good. At the end of the day, it's Jesus in us. It's the light in us that's reaching those people. Like don't take on the mindset that I want another one. I've saved another one. No, I'm not capable of saving anybody, but I know a God who can, right? And so that God, through the Holy Spirit, lives inside of me. So I have this gift that I want to share with people, and so I'm going to share it with the people that are around me, people that didn't deserve it, just like I didn't deserve it. I want to share it with them, but I have to make sure that I'm not crossing a line. Like, I'm gonna go as far as I can, but I'm not crossing the fence.
Right.
I'm gonna go as far as I'm gonna get as close as I can to you, but I'm not gonna get caught on the other side of the fence. And so culture is always pulling on us, always tugging at us. Like I said earlier, we're cultural beings. I'm gonna kind of end with this point. Since it's always tugging at us, let's just be transparent for a moment. Let's just kind of share, if there's anything. What are some of the things right now, whether it's in the American culture, the Hollywood culture, your workplace, or maybe when you was in school, what are some things, culture or environment that kind of tugged at you? Like, come over here, come to this side. What was, just be transparent. What was your thing? And how did you get over it, or how are you working through it now?
I kind of have two. One of them was high school, whatever, was just like the drive to want to fit in. Because growing up as a pastor's daughter, there is a lot of things that people speak over you. And there's also a lot of things that you go through that no one else can relate to. Like, I wouldn't change it. This is my sister, so yeah, she knows.
We're sisters.
But, ding. But, is not a lot of people can relate to that style of life. And I guess there's two things because I'm still kind of dealing with the second one is the curiosity that you're talking about. I'm still like striving towards that because so growing up, you know, pastor's daughter, whatever, really sheltered. Like my parents did a great job at shielding us from things that we just didn't need to be involved in. And so, but with that also kind of came a curiosity of like, oh, well, like what is this thing? Or, you know, what am I not versed in that people are talking about? And so it's just kind of like that, like, oh, let me just crack the door open and kind of see. Or like even like, you know, scrolling. It's like, oh, let me just like see where this is going. But then like now, so that was my struggle then. And I think the one about wanting to fit in, I think I just kind of knew like one, that's probably never gonna happen, and two, like that's just not who I was called to be. So I kind of moved on from that one. But the curiosity I feel like is still there because we're dealing with so many things now that like no one, like we're all guinea pigs. Like, you know what I mean? Like no one has ever gone through half the things that we're going through now. Like not even my parents, and you know definitely not us. Like, we haven't been around that long, but even them, they still haven't seen that. And so it's just like, oh, well, like, what is this? Or why are people saying these things? Or why is this so culturally significant? But I have to have a bigger willpower than what I'm watching. And I just have to be like, okay, like, no. Like, what? Like you said, like, what's good is it going to do me to watch this? Nothing. And if anything, like I said earlier, it's just planting a seed to further that curiosity later. And so that's something that I'm working on now. Is just like, getting to the point where like I genuinely do not have to watch that, or I genuinely do not have to read everyone's comments. 'Cause I think that's just so entertaining. You never know what people are gonna say. Genuinely. But that would be mine, and I feel like I'm doing really great with it. But it was kind of a struggle for a while.
How are you combating? What are you doing to overcome it?
What's your fight plan?
My willpower.
Your willpower.
Like literally, I just have to be like literally,
Yeah, her
like
willpower,
I'm not
Billy.
watching this.
Willpower. Snag it.
Snag it.
Snag it.
Me and Billy are starting that, by the way.
That's garbage.
You
Snag
have to
it.
snag it, y'all.
I'm not snagging that.
Bro,
Absolutely not.
bro, come on.
That's-
We're starting a
trash.
new culture, okay?
Oh.
But no, I just have to be like, I'm not watching this, or that's really all I do. I know it's not anything profound. I mean, it's not anything profound.
How dare you not have anything profound?
I know.
But
You
I'm
need to
just
have
like, it's
profoundness.
not gonna do me any good to watch this. Like, I don't want to be a part of that culture anyway. So what does
Yeah,
it
that's
matter?
awesome. That's
You
cool,
know?
yeah.
So,
Willpower.
but yeah.
That's what it comes down to. at the end of the day.
Willpower. Fight the.
What are some
fight the
things that
power.
you that tugged at you?
What tugged at me, bro? What didn't tug at me is the question. No, I'm kidding. No, I hardcore relate to my sister. Could not imagine that. But
Snag it.
no. Anyway, absolutely not. That needs to burn and die right in this very podcast. Absolutely not. That's not going anywhere. But
alive.
no, don't. Anyway, no, I think that being pastor's kid, like, it was hard for me in school. Like, everyone was like, oh, you're a pastor's daughter. You know what they say about pastor's daughters?
I hated hearing
I
that.
cannot stand that. And I still hear it at 22 years old at my job sometimes. I'm like, oh, you're a pastor's kid. You know what they say? I'm like, no, what do they say? Tell me, please.
They say I'm blessed.
That Lord has saved me. Anyway, but no, like, hearing that for so long, and like, gosh, it really wore on me to where I was like, when I was in public school, which I went until 8th grade, but even a little bit after that, I was like resistant to that label, like, because it's a label that, I mean, it's true, I am a pastor's kid, but it was such a derogatory label that was put on me that I literally resisted it at every cost possible, because I didn't want people to be like, oh, you know, like, and now I'm thinking,
Yeah.
I cannot believe I, you know, didn't like that, and I wasn't more...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't stand up for it more, because when I see these kids that I haven't seen since 8th grade, and they sometimes remember, I'm like, I'm totally different than I was back then. But
Yeah.
that was a hardcore thing for me when I was in school, was the pastor's kid, and just everyone automatically judging you for that, and you trying to rebel and break out of, for me at least, rebel and break out of that thought process for people, and just be polar opposite of whatever that label was.
How did you overcome it?
How did I overcome that, man? It took a long time, home dog. Like, they messed me up. And they talk about bullying. They bully you as a pastor's kid with that hanging over your head, man. It took me a long time to get over that. Just resistance towards the church, my dad being a pastor, all that stuff. I think it was just a God thing. I don't think I can say I did a specific thing that really set that mindset away from me to really embrace it. I think one, getting out of public school super helped. That's just for me, getting out of that environment and getting into somewhere that was more safer. But I just think that over time, God really changed my heart on that. And now I can see, like, I am glad I was a pastor kid, you know, and I'm glad that I am living the life I am now, doing this podcast with y'all. Like, I'm a proud PK.
Yeah.
PK for life.
Oh my God, get that tatted.
Yeah. I'm gonna come to the next podcast with PK for life. Anyway, but yeah, no, I think it was just that over time God really convicted me on that, and it changed my heart. And now I regret a lot of the stuff I said and did when I was in school, because, you know, I just wanted to be defiant at the time. But I think God really just over time and continually through people, through even my dad and mom, I think over time it just kind of changed my heart on that. Yeah. But that was one of the things I had.
I like, we're saying like pastors' kids because that's relevant for us, but you said something that was, I think, important is you had to change your environment. And so like for anyone, like not just pastors' kids, like if you are like, you're that kid that goes to church all the time and the kid who loves reading his Bible like at lunch or whatever it is, like if the people around you, I'm not saying you don't have to go to public school, but I'm saying like your group of friends, like if they're not the ones who are lifting you up and encouraging you, like change your environment. Like just to make it more relevant, because I know not everyone's pastor's kid, but you know, like even in the walk that you're in, if you find yourself gravitating towards more things of God than those around you, maybe change your environment up because it can encourage you in a better and deeper way.
Yeah, for sure.
So we're in with you, Ty. What tugged at you, or what is tugging, whatever which? I know you said you're not ever tempted with anything.
Wow.
Just a holy saint over here.
Holy man.
No, I'd say in the past, everywhere I went, what I've been around, was people doing, you know, like people on something, like some sort of drug, or it don't have to be like, you know, bad stuff, or it's all bad, but hard stuff, hard stuff, or, you know, stuff like that. But I've been around that everywhere I've been. High school, my first job, second job, and then now where I'm at, you know. I guess the devil finally gave up because of my strong will on that.
Praise God.
So,
Praise God.
but man, that was probably the hardest thing. I don't know. I probably worked, 4 years around that sort of stuff, and everywhere I went, they were all like, you know, just here, it's right here. Just do this, just do that, just try it. You know, I'll give it to you for free. You can just try it. You know, and then, you know, sometimes you're like, oh well, you know, I'm having a bad day. You know, why not? What's it gonna hurt? You know, they do it, but then you just gotta look at the broader picture. Just look where they're at. Do you just want to see yourself exactly where they are for the rest of your life? You know, and then half the time they have nothing, living paycheck to paycheck. You know, you just gotta think, and that's what I did. I just sit there and look back and just feel sorry for them. You know,
Right.
Because they were probably in my predicament, but they didn't say no, or they didn't try to be better, you know. They just took the handout or whatever. But that was a big thing, and ever since my first job, I strive to get people away from that. That's what I did, because the only way I could face that temptation was to just fight it head on.
Right.
You know, that helped me.
Because the normal becomes easy to partake in. You know, like if
Yeah.
you're engulfed in it, of course
Yeah.
it's easy to be like, well, it's working for them, you know.
Yeah.
So
And-
that's real deal stuff.
And
People
it
need to
goes
hear
back
that.
to willpower still.
Yeah.
You know,
You
you got to build that willpower.
Yeah.
And if you don't have any, just pray about it, you know.
Mhm.
Just pray about it.
And that environment too. Like I know
Yeah.
you can't just quit work because everyone's offering you, but you can make your own space wherever you are. You know, school, home, whatever the case is. If it's not a healthy environment for growth in the Lord, make your space. And
Yeah, but and people will notice you standing out. You don't have to throw yourself into things just so people can see you, you know? If you stand out, when you walk in that room, people are going to know
Yeah.
that you're different.
Yeah.
You
As
don't-
they should.
You don't have to say nothing or act different in front of them. You just act yourself because you know that you're different. And due time, people are going to notice it and get on the bandwagon with you.
Yeah,
Because
that
they're like
light
that.
of God
They're like that
within
man.
you.
He's 22. How does he do what he does and have everything he has? I want to be just like him. You know. So
And that's when you kind of share
and that's
the gospel with them
inspirational.
and everything
Yeah,
And that's
too.
inspirational
Yeah.
to you, and that makes you
Once
thrive.
Got them in there.
That's being a light in dark places.
Yeah.
And so that's,
sure.
that's what God calls us to be, and He calls us to be a light in the culture that we live in.
Yeah.
And so, but that's it for tonight. But thank all of you. Thank you,
Thank you.
for being transparent. Thank you
Thank
for
me.
Going after the next generation
Yeah.
and just being a light in dark places. Thank you for all that you do, and we appreciate you coming out tonight. And big shout out to Chris
Mr. Chris.
for letting us use his home for this podcast.
Snag it.
But
Absolutely
yeah,
not.
that's it. Till next time.
Burn that. Peace. Yeah, yeah.